Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Beautiful folks. Good morning. It is Friday. How is everybody doing? Guess what? Happy Halloween. It is that time of year. Yep. The kids are going to be out this evening. So I implore all of you to please be careful. Be careful with the kids. You know, Oh. Oh. Okay, hold on one second for some reason. Oh. Okay, hold on. Let me just see. Got to turn on and off radio apparently. Okay, let me try that. Give me 1 second. Got to get this clicky clacking again. Un momento, por favor. Let's play something here. By the way, today's the deadline. Deadline today. Right. The nominations.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings. It's our lifeline.
From pioneers who paved the first paths to today's crews and engineers who keep us going.
They power hospitals, connect families, and help us after natural disasters.
Let's honor the people behind Cayman's progress.
Nominate someone who built or maintained our Cayman Islands.
At gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is pleased to announce that the nominations for the 2026 National Recognition Awards are now open. Nominate individuals and groups who played a key role in developing the Cayman Islands' physical infrastructure. The categories include landmark leaders, infrastructure innovators, and the builders of Cayman. Visit gov.ky/YSCH. Click on the Nominate button to make a nomination. Here is a step-by-step guide to fill out the form. Before starting, please read the instructions, the award categories, and the eligibility criteria. Step 1. Enter your personal information and select the award category for the person or group you are nominating. Click Yes to confirm that your nominee meets the criteria. Step 2. Enter the nominee's full name, date of birth, and district. Indicate their current status, whether living or deceased, and ensure you have the current contact information for your nominee and their next of kin. Fill out the submission detail and provide any supporting documents and a reference to support your nomination. Step 3. Review your submission and make any changes by clicking the previous button. When you are ready, confirm and agree to the terms and click Submit Form to make your nomination. A thank you notice will confirm that the nomination was received, and a copy of the application will be sent to your email. Your nomination will be reviewed and considered by the National Recognition Awards Committee, and only successful nominees will be contacted and recognized at next year's National Heroes Day ceremony. Remember, you can submit multiple nominations or browse our frequently asked questions by visiting the National Recognition Awards tab at gov.ky/YSCH. We look forward to receiving your nomination.
Morning again. Please don't forget that today is the extended deadline for the nominations. So I am noticing a little error on Facebook. So I am multitasking here, just trying to have a quick look to see what's going on there. In any event, we are on the backup Facebook option, which is the community page. So if for whatever reason we can't, get back there, you've got the backup option. Okay. So I just want to remind everyone that that is available at times like this. We don't normally stream to the community page, but at times like this, when I notice something amiss, I will advise everyone to just swap over to the community page. So I'm just keeping an eye here on what's going on. We'll try it again. Sometimes systems have a little glitch. Facebook is certainly no exception there. I can advise you of that. So it looks like this morning that they may have a little something going on. Oftentimes it resolves itself pretty quickly. So, good morning to everyone. Again, happy Friday. It is Halloween. So, I was just suggesting that please, if you're going to be out, especially this evening, driving around, you need to be very, very cautious with the children in particular, because, they're out there trying their best to have a good little time collecting some candy and so on. And so, it is in everyone's best interest to try to be as cautious as possible because nobody wants to, have an accident with somebody's child involved. So please, please, please exercise due caution on our roadways. I know that we continue to struggle with road safety being a major issue and a major concern. And I hate to tell you, but we're not really getting as far ahead in that area as we really should be. So road safety has to be everyone's concern. So please make it your business, especially on a night like tonight, when you know a lot of young people are going to be out and about on the roadway, to kindly, just proceed with caution. All right. So just to confirm, we are live on cmrtv.com. Someone messaged me yesterday and they said, Miss Sandy, I can't get it on the TV. And I was like, the TV? I was a little bit lost about that, what they're referring to, but they were talking about the website. And I had to have the tech guy, Chow, we're already running out of space. So he had to clean a few things up. But we are back again on the website, cmrtv.com. And of course, this month, November, we're going to be rolling out our CMR TV lineup. So I'm very, very excited about that. Facebook, we're going to be on the community channel and YouTube channel. We're also there. And of course, we're in Bobo 103.1 this morning as well. So I'm sending out the links to everyone. Please share the links if you know you've got a regular, like a friend who always listens on the usual Facebook channel. Let them know that we're not there this morning. So find us on the community page instead. Okay. And hopefully it'll resolve. I'll try it again in a little bit. Somebody else just said, what? No cold hard truth this morning? Follow that channel, honey child. Follow the channel. All right. There we go. Miss Debbie, I see you messaging me as well. I see you calling me actually. Let me see here. Is CMR on this morning? Yes, we are on. Don't worry, sir. I see you coming straight to you. Nope, I'm not off island. We are on. It's just that our primary page seems to be having a little bit of an issue. No clue what that is, but we'll try to get that sorted out. Okay, so we are live and direct. Let's go ahead and pull in Mr. Anglin this morning. We've got Mr. Ralston Anglin joining us, Minister, the Honorable Ralston Anglin, Minister of Education and Finance. And we're very, very pleased to have him here this morning. So let's put on our good manners. Good morning, Honorable Minister. How are you? All right, just hit that unmute button for me when you are ready. Sandra. And I think you have to turn your camera on as well.
There we go.
Yes, there we are. You've forgotten how to do all these things for yourself lately.
Sandra, this is what happens with when you change technology and when you change devices, and then every device behaves a little differently. So I was scared. I was here in the office and it was telling me that it couldn't detect the camera. So I was here sitting frantically, and that's why I just sent you a message. But ignore the message.
All good.
Direct.
Yep.
So you've had a good week.
Yeah, it was a good week. Boy, Friday seems to come around so fast, I must tell you.
They do.
But here we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you so much. I hope that you had a productive week as well. I can see that the government has been extremely busy.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Very productive week, and I am excited about Budget Day next Wednesday, but I want to leave those discussions until next week. Next Friday, we can have a wholesome discussion on the budget that gets delivered to Parliament.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But needless to say, we are ready. the numbers have been finalized and the documents printing will commence. We're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be printing as much as we used to because, of course, Parliament has gone digital. Parliament has done an exceptional job, actually. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's one of those small things that we sometimes overlook. So I want to shout out the technology staff at Parliament. We know how share files and we will use ShareFile as a tool. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times when the public or watching on CIGTV see parliamentarians with the laptop out in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
that is because we have access to all the elements of the order paper right there at our fingertips. In fact, as things get dropped on the order paper, they then become available and become populated for us in real time. So it's quite a good system. And for someone who loves technology as much as you do, you would be,
Mm-hmm.
I think, very happy at where we've reached, certainly as a parliament in
Mm.
in
That
with
yeah,
technology.
that is fantastic, and I must tell you that I really love when people go paperless. To me, we talk about so many things in terms of the environment, and one of the things that is just out of control is the amount of paper that is produced on so many fronts, right? So I
So you'd
appreciate
be
when
happy
people.
that, and so unlike the old days where numerous and volumes of copies of documents had to be produced, and the budget, of
Mhm,
course, is the one that took up the most. The country should be happy to know that we're not cutting down nearly as many trees with the budget documents going forward. And so
mhm.
I think it's only 15 copies that have to be produced versus the 30 plus that used to be the case. So
Yeah.
I think there's some members that still like to have the actual physical copies to scribble and make notes on, etc. But we'll get there. We'll get there to the point where everyone gets it on their device and can use
Mhm,
their touch screen and make their notes right in their touch screen and be that comfortable. But as we know with these things, anytime you're in that transitionary phase where you're moving from paper to paperless, I'm never going to be critical of anyone who still likes to lean back on the old system, right? Because it is a big transition.
mhm,
But I think it's going to pay a lot of dividends in terms of, you pointed out, cost,
mhm,
s- um, saving our planet, um, and efficiencies because you just become
mhm.
so much more efficient. But Sandra,
Absolutely.
I heard you, and I know I'd mentioned to you that there were a few things that I wanted to talk about, but
Mhm.
very interesting that you were just talking about road safety. And one of the things that I told you I wanted to talk about today was young drivers.
Oh, and I hadn't even seen that yet, so that's
Well,
great.
I'd sent you track through a message. So I said,
Yes.
oh, well, there you go. You didn't even read the message and was on talking
I
about it. So,
Mhm,
when one of the reasons I can only stay on until 9 this morning with you is at
mhm,
9 a.m. We've had a meeting now that's been slotted for, I think, going on 3 weeks, and something always interfered with it. But we're having a young drivers ed meeting between myself and some of my ministry staff, the Ministry of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing, and Infrastructure, which has responsibility for roads and traffic and
mhm,
transport, I should say. And so we're coming together with them because I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but back in 2011, we had done the what was a what was meant to be at the time a pilot program that would have been rolled out across the government system to children once they hit 17. Well, on
mhm,
the theoretical side, before they turn 17, obviously,
mhm,
but around road safety and ensuring we infused it at the very end of high school. So we want to go back to that because it's never too early to formally start talking to children about what road safety means, the great responsibility that it is once you do get your license and have that privilege to drive on our
mhm,
roads. Um, so hopefully that'll be one of the things that'll lead to
mhm,
safer roads for our children and for all of us. as they enter that very important phase of their life. So that meeting is meant to be a kickoff meeting to get their feedback. We're also bringing in a couple of individuals who already participate in this business. One of them, of
Mm-hmm.
course, is a former police officer, Mr. Luke McCoy, who has, I think a lot of people will have seen his little green cars, and he's going on to, I think, my second daughter now is right now going through her practical with him, because I
Mm-hmm.
was so pleased at how things round up with when my middle daughter got her license. He does a great job, but more
Mm-hmm.
important, because he was a former RCIPS officer, he
Mm-hmm.
had actually advocated to government around implementing via legislation mandatory a mandatory system for all new drivers to our country if you weren't coming from I think there was a few exemptions perhaps for the US, UK and Canada. Don't quote me on that, but I think he
Mm-hmm.
did recognize that if you came from some countries, we know the standard of driving and the standard of licensing arrangements. But for everyone else, it was around trying to ensure that we got minimum instruction to ensure
Mm-hmm.
that we got safer roads. Because I think there's a very vexing issue that's been, I'm not going to say boiling below the surface because people talk about it very openly,
Mm-hmm.
is the lack of competence of a large group, a number of drivers who come from Cayman from places that
Mm-hmm.
perhaps the road code and road manners and road behavior
Mm-hmm.
is not what we're used to. Let's just put it that.
Yes.
And so it would be to encapsulate all of them. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, when my middle daughter, so this would be about 4 years ago now, went through the program with him, the two of us were chatting when I signed her up with him, and he was telling me what he was thinking about doing, that he had approached government. So
Mm-hmm.
of course, running in the last election again and getting elected, I remembered that conversation, and I said, let's bring everybody together, and then also let's hear from somebody like him who'd already given this a lot of thought. So you don't want to recreate the wheel for someone who, like I said, former RCIPS officer, and on top of that, has a business that does this right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I'm glad to hear it because it is a real area of concern for not just parents, but I think everyone in the community. Because in fact, our young people, as we know, their brain doesn't fully develop until 25. So when we're talking about young people, we're talking about even, new drivers and in their early 20s, especially. And one of the things a lot of parents may not know, statistically speaking, is your children are at the highest risk of having a vehicular incident, especially a serious one, if there are other young people in the vehicle. This has been proven time and time again all over the world. The worst thing that you can do is give your kids the keys to the car and say, oh, go out with your friends and have a good time. Because the mere fact of having other teens and other young people in the vehicle means that they are going to take chances that they're not going to take if if a parent was in the vehicle or an aunt or uncle, or even if they were driving by themselves. So there are little things that we can do. I'm glad to see that the government is prepared to do their part. But as is always the case, the citizens, the good citizens of this country, the good residents of this country, have to also be prepared to do their part as well. So we got a lot to get through before 9 o'clock. And oh my gosh, that's only 1 hour that we've got with the Honorable Minister this morning. So let's dive into it. Now, the last time you were here, we had a lot of people calling about or messaging about a variety of different things. And I know that you were intending to get to all those. This isn't on your list for today. You were intending to address and to get to the Clifton Hunter graduation. Can you briefly touch on that this morning? By all accounts, it was a hot mess and then some. We could see at times just from the body language that you were embarrassed, I think is probably the only word I could use to describe some of the lack of coordination and, just it was a hot mess. Mispronunciation of names, calling in ministers who weren't even in attendance. I don't know if you've done any follow-up in terms of what happened that you could highlight, but I know you. And one thing with, as you like to say, Ralston Malachi Anglin, honorable, one thing with him is he's not going to see inefficiencies around him and turn a blind eye. So I'm sure even from that evening, your mind was turning to the fact that you were going to be doing something a bit different going forward.
Well, Sandra, I've reached a stage in my life where I don't believe in beating a dead horse. We're past the event.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who watched will have seen what I saw. What some didn't see or hear were things like the number of parents I saw come and tap or motion to their child, get their child's attention, and
Mm-hmm.
took them out of their own graduation and left.
Mm-hmm.
Your graduation ceremony, first of all, let's start with one very simple thing. School leaving exercises and graduation exercises are about the students.
Mm-hmm.
They're not about the adults. They're not about the presenters. They're not about sponsors. They are about the students. And so for me, anytime I see what I perceive to be the students not being the focal point of what we're trying to do, we are there to celebrate an important milestone in the lives of our young people.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're going to be looking to, what I'm going to be doing is when we have our first principals consultative meeting, is I have actually got a very helpful report from Miss Linda Rankin, who works in protocol, who
Mm-hmm.
attended a large number of these ceremonies. She actually gave me a very helpful report in pointing out a number of things from her protocol, with her protocol hat on.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be taking a number of those points to all of our principals to ensure that just from a protocol standpoint, we bed down what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, we also want to ensure that we standardize what a school leaving ceremony from a primary school looks like and what
Mm-hmm.
it looks like from a graduation from a high school. If you go to any of our three high schools,
Mm-hmm.
Lehman Scott Senior High School, the John Gray High School, or the Clifton Hunter High School, you should have a very similar experience, save for the number of students that's graduating.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about ensuring that principals take ownership for their graduations, but at the same time, we have come to recognize that a graduation, especially a high school graduation, is quite an event to put on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say that one of the things that we are going to do is we are going to bring professional help for putting on those events. Because think about it, Sandra, whenever government does an event, very rarely, if it's a big event, civil
Mm-hmm.
servants don't put it on because civil servants aren't event people, if you get what I'm saying. So take
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
100-day celebration. We got outside assistance with that, which is quite appropriate. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with a graduation. We can't expect our principals and the graduation committee to be these great events planners. I think what they should be doing is feeding in the critical information so that all the information is accurate. And then we get
Mm-hmm.
that professional assistance to ensure that our students get the best possible experience, right? The fact is, we must ensure that when young people think back on their graduation night, it's a night they think back on fondly. Not that
Mm-hmm.
they and their parents got so frustrated because how long it was that they got up to their own halfway through their own ceremony and left.
Right.
Um, the other thing that we're going to be looking at very carefully and working closely with our schools is ensuring that when speakers, especially the keynote speaker,
Mm-hmm.
is chosen, that uh, perhaps a few options are given to students and they get some feedback on what that message might look like before they make their final choice. Um, because we want to, again, ensure that that's a night that you remember fondly for the rest of your life, right? I
Mhm.
can remember my high school graduation, right? That's 37 years ago, class of 88. Yeah, 37 years ago
Mhm.
that I graduated from high school. Um, Here's what I can remember. First, I do remember some of the speech, believe it or not. But
Mhm.
I also remember the speech being so long because back then it was a government official who gave it. A few times when he paused, we all tried to clap him off the stage. Now,
Mm.
adults may say, oh, well, geez, Ralston, you all were foppish at 16. No, we weren't. We were 16,
Your
17,
kids, yeah.
15, 16-year-old kids who
Mhm.
the adults decided that the graduation ceremony was their time to come up and give us a 45-minute speech because it was somewhere that long, Sandra, back in those days. What do you think is going to happen when 15 and 16-year-olds who on their night got to be
Mhm.
subjected to a 40 plus minute speech?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So, that is, those are the, now, of course, I'm not saying any of the speeches in these days are that long because they're not. They do slot in the appropriate time. But we need to also ensure that that message is one that is going to be life, one that they'll remember, and perhaps a nugget that they can use and carry with them for the rest of their lives. So I think that's very important. So hopefully, Sandra, that gives yourself and the public a view as
Mhm.
to what we're going to look to do to ensure that there's a positive experience all around. And I can say that, let me give a classic, simple point. Right now, in the government's website, the protocol list is on the website.
Mhm.
So it's not like names and those sorts of things aren't there, right there, readily available on the website, right? And so access to information and ensuring protocol has its input
Mhm.
on all these ceremonies is important as well. So yes, I think people, the public, ought to be looking and hold us accountable for improving our school leaving exercises and our graduations,
Mhm.
high
Mhm.
school graduations going forward. So hopefully that puts
Okay.
that to bed and we can look forward next year and we get a much better product. And let me reiterate the point again, Sandra.
Mm.
This is about our children.
Mhm.
School leaving is to celebrate them and their achievements. Graduation from high school is to celebrate them and their achievements. And I say that point because if there's nothing you hear about another frustration I have is school leavings being called graduations because they're not a graduation. You are leaving one level
Mm.
of education and moving on to another. High school is a
Mhm.
US concept and you graduate on, you then
Mhm.
graduate from university, right? Now, Sandra, I know you went to the school in the
Mhm.
US. Would you be surprised if I told you that graduation at high school is not something that is in happens in our mother country and their system, which we follow?
Hmm. I would be surprised because yeah, but I'm not
So,
that familiar with the UK system, so
right, because I know you've said that to me
yeah.
a lot of times in the past. So we
Mhm.
have actually introduced a very Americanized concept
Mm.
into our system.
Right.
Right? So it isn't something that they practice and do, right? They see that as you exit mandatory education and you graduate from university.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that I'm going to go that route. Obviously, we have a long-standing tradition now of celebrating school leavers and celebrating high school graduates. But I just
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that bring that little nugget to your attention.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm.
But Sandra,
Interesting.
we've also had some. If we Speaking of graduations, though, we had two huge celebrations recently, Sandra, that I think they're up on the ministry's Facebook page, website, etc. But I think in this forum, we ought to highlight them.
Mhm.
And that is, just this week, I was up at the Lighthouse School celebrating the City and Guild's achievements of pupils at Lighthouse. I don't think a lot of Caymanians have been exposed to Lighthouse School enough and the great, great life changing work that happens at that school. We
Mhm.
have one of the best special needs schools in the entire world. We have an absolute first rate special needs school at Lighthouse. The staff, parents, and all those who are the engine behind the provisioning at Lighthouse School deserve our accolades, deserve our thanks. Because when I think of just a short time ago when I was going through the school system, when let's just say the provisioning was less than stellar, to
Mhm.
think that we are at a point now where I can do a school tour at Lighthouse School and I can see those Apple devices that was rolled out in my first term as minister and see pupils using them to communicate. So we got kids who have communication issues. So let's just say you're a non-communicative child with autism. Here you have your device now because you can hear properly. You can now tell your teachers, communicate with your teachers, participate in lessons using technology. Seeing that
Mhm.
sort of life changing access to technology and life changing provisioning of education is something that I got to tell you, every time I see it, it really, it literally, it literally causes me to choke up. And
Mhm.
why does it, Sandra? So one of the things as humans that we do is we take what we're doing right now, Sandra, for granted. We take the fact that I can come on this show, don't have to have any special provisioning. You don't have to have any special, say for your little knee, no, let me say little, say for your knee rehab, you're good.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're good. The majority of people who are listening to us, they're good. You can switch on, switch off, go grab your coffee and do whatever you're doing in
Mhm.
between. And we don't, a lot of times we forget about that small proportion of our population who, for no fault of their own, don't have this type of access to life.
Mm.
And what do we do? How do we
Right.
respond? And having the city and guilds provisioning of education and layered on top of that, as done, shows the commitment that the government has to ensuring that those of our in our population who are alternatively enabled have adequate access to high level education provision.
Mhm.
And so the teachers who have continued to push the envelope. I mean, I was talking to one of the senior teachers there, and she was explaining how excited she was when she was able to participate in rolling out city and guilds and
Mhm.
bringing it to life, and now seeing numerous streams of students go through and the impact that it's having, the impact on teaching and learning, the impact on outcomes, and the impact on achievement is something that our entire country ought to be looking on and celebrating, because what's happening at Lighthouse School is world class, right? Um, in my first term, I think I received some criticism. Well, initially, when I rolled out and said ECC was going to be the most important, and that's where we're going to invest,
Mhm.
there was a kerfuffle. Why wasn't I concentrating on high schools, and why was I going to the beginning when I needed to quote unquote fix all these children who were about to leave school? Not that we didn't continue to have strong interventions and still do today, but it's a long term investment. And a lot
Mhm.
of times as humans, we don't want to say we're going to start today and we're not going to see the fruits of that labor until 13 years, year of reception plus 12 years. But same thing at Lighthouse. Um, not able to advocate for themselves as strongly as others could. But I took the view, I still take the view, that those who have the lowest voice and are advocated for the least need to be the people that government intervenes for the strongest and the
Mhm.
earliest. And so that's why I paid so much attention to Lighthouse and changing the programming and the provision there, and working with them. Because I remember when I got the proposals in, budget times were tough. That's when we were going to the UK cap in hand to just get approval for our budgets. Um, but that was prioritized, and I'm so happy that we prioritized and pushed that agenda. Um, I will. I can also say, Sandra, that one of the things that the public can look forward to is that we are tackling the whole issue of the new Lighthouse School. It's oversubscribed. Right now, as we speak, we
Mm-hmm.
have children that should be at Lighthouse that government, the ministry, is having to have provisioning provided for at other institutions. But another institution, I should say, Hope Academy, um, because we're out of space.
Wow.
And so we do need to build. Number one priority is getting this project brought to fruition, and getting the new Lighthouse School, in addition to the Lighthouse School, I should say, um, just to be able to now have a primary, a secondary, and what's most exciting, and this I'm going to give one little sneak peek in the budget. We are going to be rolling out, when that happens, we are going to be rolling out a year 13. And so right now in the system,
Mm-hmm.
we, there's a gap between the end of compulsory for Lighthouse School students and the beginning of provisioning from the Sunrise Adult Training Center.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to close that gap. We can't continue to have a gap where parents and children
Mm.
um, don't have a facility, don't have
Right.
provisioning. That's completely unacceptable. And so we're talking about internally about how we fill that gap in the interim so that we can take that stressor off of parents and off of um, those students. And last but by no means least, one of the things that I've had some preliminary discussions, not that they're not advanced as yet, but one of the things I want to do as part of the second phase of our immigration reform is coming up with an incentivized program. You know, a lot of our systems in Cayman, Sandra, are a little more punitive in nature, right? So, you know, we charge higher work permits for certain categories of workers because we want to make it more difficult for companies to pay for those because we want more Caymanians in those areas. So the work permit for an accountant and a lawyer is much, much more expensive because we want those entities to really, really hire Caymanians. Well, one of the things that we need to do is flip that script a bit and go to companies and incentivize them hiring persons of special or alternative education levels and needs, and being committed to it. Now, I can say, in any of us who go to Hurley supermarket, and I will call them out because they do outstanding work in this area, and those who do outstanding work should be credited for it. They have been, I think, the most that I know of, one of the most consistent organizations at ensuring they incorporate persons who have gone through Lighthouse and that sort of provisioning at their store. And so we need to get more people involved because it's no good us continuing to work on Lighthouse and improving that provision, work with Sunrise Adult Training Center to improve and enhance that experience, and then not have um, those Caymanians have access to the world of work. So we are going to be working very, very um, hard to give more Caymanians in that area that opportunity. You've heard me say it, but one thing I've learned in life: if you don't say something a million times, people will down swear you never said it. I also believe in practicing what I preach. In my 12 years of not being elected, I can say that one of the two entities that I was a part owner in, right now, today, we still have a young man who went through Lighthouse and the Sunrise Adult Training Center working for the company. 6 years on, and he's still with us. Are there, and it's a small company. It's only, so let me be clear, this company it only has 6 employees. One has gone through Sunrise at Lighthouse School and Sunrise Adult Training Center. That's 1/6. That's a big impact. So whenever the manager has to make special accommodation and provisioning and work closely with him, that's for us disproportionately. That's a lot of effort. We could have easily threw our hands up and said, you know what, we're only a few people. We don't have the capacity to bring a person on. We just need to have, but no, we took the decision that this was going to be a real investment. And for me, Sandra, I like to prove some points. For me, it was a prove a point as well. Let me be frank about it. I said, you know what? I said to our manager at the time, I said, listen, let's prove it. Let's prove we can do this. Let's prove to ourselves, first of all, and work out whatever kinks there are. And let's prove this is something we can do. And so 6 years on, it's been a wonderful experience. Has there been huge challenges? Of course, Sandra, right? Because if he goes into the manager's office and says, I don't want to work with this driver anymore. We want to have 2 trucks. So it's not like we have a fleet of 10 drivers and therefore we can, make him work quite seamlessly with another team member. But it's those experiences and working through them that just goes to show and demonstrate to me, and certainly to any others who are listening out there, that yes, when you do bring people on who are alternatively enabled, there are going to be management and staffing challenges. But if you do it thoughtfully, and let me then give a great big shout out to the team at Sunrise Adult Training Center. They provide free counseling as well. So they're always that backstop. They first of all, they proactively do check-ins. So they check in with us to ensure everything is going well. They proactively also check in with their client. So there's that ongoing support that Sunrise Adult Training Center also provides in this space. But besides that free support you get on the side, you got to have commitment. You got to be committed to it. And if you're committed to it, then those same students who are getting those City and Guilds celebrations just this week could be in the next couple of years somewhere working in some company in Cayman. And that's what should be happening, Sandra, because we cannot leave dozens of Caymanians behind and say, oh, well, it's difficult to employ them. They're going to be challenging. We can't do that. We need to give them that sense of self-worth because they are equal human beings. Equally important, we need to start giving those parents that respite, because now all of a sudden when they're away from home and working, that's one less worry and stress for the family. Thirdly, it then allows parents to start to have that peace of mind to look on and say, well, you know what? When I pass on, God's willing, they are going to be okay. Because look, they are working, they are moving and having their being. Oh, and let me also say, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with this, so I should stop naming names. The cinema has also done yeoman's work in this area. Yeoman's work in this area as well. So I think companies need to follow the lead of the cinema, follow the lead of Hurley's, go talk with them, understand what systems they had to put in place to make these employment relationships work, and go for it, because we cannot have those students continue to be sidelined and not be able to take their rightful place up in Caymanian society. Now, Sandra, I'm not hearing you right now.
My apologies. No, I was just saying that I agree 100%. And I have seen the amazing job, as you say, that the cinema has done in hiring, differently abled individuals. And, they show, I know one thing for sure, they show up to work and they know their customer service. They're always so polite and friendly. And it's really heartwarming to see that. Anytime we talk about special, I don't know what the proper politically correct term is these days, Ralston. So forgive me. I don't mean to, insult anyone, but it made me think of a situation. I'm not going to call any names, as you say, because Cayman is so small. But this young lady also used to work at Hurley's doing cashiering. And you might remember that I had spent some time with her there in West Bay. Really, really special young lady. And, her disability, when I found out what it was, in my mind, it wasn't even that much of a disability, except that here in Cayman, we're not equipped. And I always said that this was such a learning experience for me. Spending some time with her a number of years ago, I even traveled to Miami with this young lady, and she has a sight problem. And I remember saying after that trip, because spending a couple days with her really educated me. And at one point she was looking out the car window, Ralston, and she said, "Oh, that is such a beautiful shade of blue." And I was shocked. I'm like, wait a minute, you can see shades of color? Like, I wasn't even aware of the extent of her disability. And I said, you can see shade. And then she started to explain to me in her own words a little bit what her limitations are. And I thought, well, that's not in my head, having grown up in the States and seeing people, go far with all sorts of disabilities. I'm like, that's not that much of a disability. And I remember going to the president of, oh gosh, help me out here, Ralston. This would have been actually Sir Alden McLaughlin, president of, what was his service club that he was in? Lions Club. And begging them to get this machine so that she could actually read properly. Because unfortunately, what I also discovered is what they had her doing at Lighthouse School was a fine, nice, beautiful young lady. They just had her sitting there helping them out, coloring. She was an expert colorer, but helping them out when they needed help with some of the other students because she was just so nice. I'm thinking, why is everyone around her stunting her ability to go out there and be anything that she wanted? If this young lady had been in the States, she could have been a lawyer, a doctor, so many things, even with this limitation, because there would have been resources available to help her. And I also recall really being surprised that wasn't being done in a formal education setting, and that everyone around her was treating her like she had some other disability. So, we were in the mall at one point. I remember we walked into a young lady who had Down syndrome. And we had a conversation with her, and, she had like her hair. I think I had my hair kind of twisted in the front. She was expressing how much she liked it, and that one time her aunt had done her hair. We had a full conversation. So when we were done conversing and we were walking away, I said to the young lady who was with me, I said, "Do you know that young lady also has a disability? She has something called Down syndrome." And she said, "Really?" The fact that she communicated so well, was at ease talking to us out there, had a little job doing all this stuff. The young lady who was with me was shocked at that because she'd never seen anyone with, and this was someone who had way more of a severe disability than her. She'd never seen people with disabilities functioning in the real world like that. And she said, "She has Down syndrome." And I said, "Yes." And she was like, "Wow." And I thought, yeah. So I understood at that time. And it's a sad indictment, I think, on where we are. And I'm so glad that you're addressing this, Ralston, that unfortunately in Cayman, if you're outside of the norm, and I mean either side of the spectrum, which means that you could be incredibly brilliant, right? Or you have some issues where you need help catching up, and you have some sort of disability. Unfortunately, the system is not designed historically to cater anyone outside of this narrow, like, this is what is quote unquote normal. Yeah. And I think that that's unfortunate. So I'm really, really pleased to hear that you are addressing this, and especially from the perspective of the Lighthouse School, Sunrise Adult Learning Center, and really, trying to get programs in place where the community does their part, because we all have a role to play in making these individuals feel as normal as possible. Don't treat them like they're not human beings, like they don't have feelings. I had another situation, I think it was last year, someone called saying, "Oh, this person with special needs has a boyfriend." I was like, "So?" I mean, what's the problem? Like you think they don't have feelings just because they have special needs? And I was at a loss for why they were even calling me about this. Oh, well, I think you should talk about this on your radio. And I said, no, I'm not going to try to make this person feel like this is wrong. Where you guys have gone wrong as a family is you made assumptions that this person would never want to get married, might never want to have children themselves, might not want to be in a relationship. And you never had a conversation with her about the birds and the bees. So I suggest you get together as a family and you go do that now.
So, Sandra, very, very important point. So much so that in our first meeting with the director of Sunrise Adult Training Center, this very point came up. And let me break it down in a couple of different pieces and elements. First of all, well, you know what? Let me take it from public school, private school, what I would call traditional school. Here's 2025, and I am sitting in a meeting with my senior team talking about the sensitivities around sex education. Okay. So let that stew for a minute for you in the audience. And before people get very hypocritical now and get on their high horses, I'm talking about us as a community. This is all of us. This isn't just a few Christian conservatives in Cayman.
Right.
This is all of us. This is our education system. This is the education system that is, whether public or private, talking about what should be the mandatory age-appropriate provisioning of the human anatomy and sex education.
Yes.
Because we cannot assume that children are being taught everything they need to be taught at home.
Yes.
Sad, but true. And has been true for decades. This is not a new, oh, Ralston, what a great revelation you just made in Sandra's show. We've been talking about this now for decades, and nobody wants to bite the bullet and get it done. I told the team, I don't care what criticisms come my way, we are going to roll out a mandatory, age-appropriate sex education provisioning across our curriculum. We need to equip our children about what appropriate touch and inappropriate touch is. Do we think we get there without sex education? You think we're going to be able to tell a 5, 6, 7-year-old, here's what you do if this happens? What do we do that? We're going to do that magically and mystically? No, we need to be real. And we need to also be real that this lack of guts to tackle this subject has led to a number of, we would never know the number, Sandra, but we can certainly know from the amount of arrests and suspicions we've had in this community over the decades, then, and I dare say, I'm not going out on any limb, that there would be a large number of children who have been taken advantage of in this country. And because we have systematically refused to address this topic, they themselves don't even know what's happening and know what to do to protect themselves and report it.
Absolutely.
So that is coming. Now, let me get back to Sunrise. Imagine that we're that in the wider sense of traditional schools. We also need it at Sunrise and Lighthouse. Right? Because you're quite right. For some reason, we believe somehow that if you have Down syndrome or if you're autistic, that means that you might not want to have a family. Right? And so we need to have that provisioning. So much so that we also need to start thinking through. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky, Sandra, and I must tell you, we're early days at in this discussion. One of the things that have come to light more and more and more are persons being taken advantage of. And so you have a young lady who has gone through Lighthouse, now Sunrise, and now someone wants to marry them.
Right.
And there's a strong suspicion then it's a marriage of convenience.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So those are some difficult issues, because what happens, first of all, proving marriage of convenience when it's just Jane Doe,
It's very
etc.,
difficult.
is
Yeah.
already difficult. Picture trying to do it now with someone who's alternatively enabled.
Yes.
And so, but that we're not running away from it. It has to be addressed. We have to ensure that we work closely with the AG's chambers to think about what we can do legally and systematically to protect such persons, right? Without, let me be clear now, without infringing on their right to a family. Because we can't just say, oh, well, if you have this, and this, you shall not be able to be married unless you do this, and this. So there's a balance that we're going to have to strike in this area. What happens when, let's say, a young lady who has Down syndrome wants to get married, but the parents then say, we think this is bad, and here's the reason. Like, where is that balance going to be struck when it comes to a marriage officer? These are real issues, Sandra, that we have to grapple with, and I dare say more and more of them are going to happen in the coming years, because as you provision more and expose persons who are special, then their life and their freedoms and how they move and have their being actually starts to expand. And as that expansion happens, these issues become more and more prevalent around things like marriage. So that is something that we're looking at, and we're going to be coming back to the public with what will be our thought process as to how we roll that out and move forward and ensure that we give them the best possible opportunity to protect themselves as well.
Yep. And I think a lot of it, if I may say, Minister, comes back to education. Like, the more that these life skills, the more that you talk to them about relationships, and they understand that the first one is probably not going to be the end all and be all, or the last one, or, and that sometimes things motivate different people differently to get into a relationship and to be interested in them. And then not everyone is a kind, nice, and genuine person. Like, I think there's a lot of elements of that they understand, and they can understand with time if it's properly explained to them. And that's how they also protect themselves, because unfortunately, anyone with a learning disability, or even a physical disability as a child, is at greater risk for being victimized by potentially people around them. So they need added protection. They need those additional conversations about what's appropriate and what isn't appropriate. So for me, it comes back again under this really broad umbrella of having this continuing education, and sex education is absolutely no different. Life skills is no different. To me, it's all part of educating people. And I remember the previous governor, Mr. Martin Roper, before he left, he called me in, he asked me to have a little meeting with him. And he said that, one of the concerns that he was always listening to me keenly around my advocacy, especially around protecting children from sexual abuse. And he said that they had been given some funds that was earmarked by the UK government for all of the OTs, and Cayman was obviously included in that. And they were given funds specifically for an education element to be in the schools to teach young people, again, depending on their age groups, what was appropriate touch and this sort of thing, around really arming them with how to protect themselves. And he said that the pushback, especially from the Christian schools, which is a lot in Cayman, was significant. And they were not able to move forward with the program because those schools objected to having children be taught anything that, because in their mind, telling children what's appropriate touch, what isn't appropriate, that conversation was about sex, which is not really true, but that in their mind they equate everything together, and they unequivocally turned down the governor's offer. And he was just like, what do we do? How do we change the narrative and the conversation in this country to make people, even Christians and Christian institutions, understand that we all have an obligation to protect your children, and the best way to protect them is to arm them with knowledge and information.
So, Sandra, my approach is very simple. All of those schools under a model that is decades old, I found it and it's still there, and I'm not saying it's not appropriate, but all schools who are full schools in Cayman and are licensed wind up becoming part of a grant program that the government funds from taxpayer money. So do these schools believe that this time around they're going to run and hide, get taxpayers' money, and not be mandated as to what the taxpayers of this country demand for some minimum provisioning? Well, it's not going to happen this time around. I can tell every one of them they can either make two choices. They can come to the government and say, you know what, Minister of Education, we don't want the thousands of dollars that we give you of taxpayers' money anymore. We want to be left alone and do our own thing. Because to me, not only should a Minister of Education be able to say nationally what you do educationally, but it becomes, it is then such a slap in the face to the entire community that you want to revolt against what the minister sees as best practice, but still get taxpayer money. Now think about that. You can take the taxpayer money, but what the taxpayers say is mandatory minimum provisioning can't be had. Sandra, the other slither of this that you hear proffered, and I've heard this story long enough. Oh, well, if you talk about sex education, then that's going to encourage young people to go and explore. Now, I mean, seriously? I certainly hope I don't hear that from any church school this time around. I certainly hope that I do not hear any leader, either church or in the school itself, say to me that because we tell and instruct young people around the human anatomy and have sex education, appropriate touch, etc., that now is going to encourage somehow. No, the reason you're giving the information is so that they understand what is appropriate touch and not appropriate touch, and what you should and should not do, versus just exploring on their own, right? This whole business about covering your eyes up and saying, well, children aren't exploring right now anyway, so let's not say anything, because if we say something, boy, now they're going to go explore then. Sandra, that sort of illogic, because it's a completely asinine argument.
Yep. And in fact, it's actually the opposite. Children who are, the research has proven children who are educated and feel like they have a comfort level appropriate for their age group are less likely to go out there and listen to other children who are going to tell them stuff that isn't accurate. And they're less likely to try to explore and get into, you've got to educate people. And this concept of keeping people in the dark is better for them, I struggle with, for sure.
So Sandra, if you don't tell people that you shouldn't walk across a 6-lane highway with traffic because you could wind up getting hit, probably killed, because you've now told them that it's a bad idea, they're now going to go out and do the bad idea.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Yep.
Tell human beings, here's something you shouldn't do, and boy, by telling them that, now they're really going to go out and do it. Listen, we got to get past all this foolishness. We got to think about our children, and what some adults who don't want to get on board about what's right for our children ain't holding any water with me.
Yeah.
It's about what's best for our children, to give them the best possible life chances. And so we are going to work very hard in that area. But Sandra, one other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I was out at East End Primary School,
Mm-hmm.
and it was again just a taster for things to come. We're going to be working around culture and heritage and doubling down on culture and heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra, we want to have the look and feel from the time you drive past every government school in Cayman, for people to just look and know I'm in the Cayman Islands. That's an authentically Caymanian school. That's superficial on the outside, but a deep message. We're going to be doubling down on how we actually continue a lot of good work. Let me not say that there's not
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of good work done in this area. There has been some good work done in this area, but we're really going to double down to create that national Caymanian identity in all of our schools. And so we've come up with a flag program as just the first. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And so we're rolling out and having flags installed inside the classroom of every school, every
Wait a
classroom,
minute. We never had that.
not mandatorily. No,
I mean, the Cayman flag.
you're not in the States anymore, Sandra. I know exactly where you're going to go with that, because I know your
What?
experience in the U.S.
Oh my
I'm not saying that
gosh.
I'm not saying there isn't a large number of them,
Yes.
but it wasn't something that was systemic. It wasn't something that was driven from the center to ensure it
Right.
actually happened. And a lot of times it would be the little puny flag just stuck
Oh
up in the
wow.
corner as
Not a
part of it.
standard. No,
No.
listen. Yeah, I'm
So
I'm used to
if you
getting up
go
every
on,
morning and or Pledge of Allegiance.
Sandra, you're
So
better with the technology than me. If you go right now while
yes.
I'm saying this, because you could show it to your audience, myself and the Minister of
Mm-hmm.
Heritage were up at, conveniently, or not convenient, this was well planned. We wanted to start in East End. Firstly, he's the MP for
Mm-hmm.
East End, and just by coincidence, also the minister responsible for heritage. So we
Mm-hmm.
said, what better place to start this than in East End? And so we not only handed over a brand spanking new flag for outside of the school to be
Mm-hmm.
on display, but also we went into 2 classrooms to present them, and they'd already had the hole drilled with the piping coming out for a nice big Cayman flag to be flown in their classroom. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be rolled out across our system. I want a Caymanian flag in every classroom in this country. I want to ensure that we're back to our children heightening and hoisting and lowering the flag, not some security guard
Mm-hmm.
at every school every day. I want to ensure that the flag that is outside of our schools, and there's a few right now, because I noticed them as I'm driving around, that are scheduled to be replaced because they're tattered, they're worn out. We have to take great pride, and the great
Mm-hmm.
pride starts with that flag that's over your left shoulder, Sandra. That's where the
Absolutely.
great pride. Well, before someone says, mine is in the office as well, but you can't see it, so it's by my door.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we got to take that pride and bring the culture and heritage back into our classrooms. Every one
Mm-hmm.
of those classrooms had um, their Cayman corner, and those young people were able to describe what was in their Cayman corner. They did an outstanding job.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
were a few little things here and there that myself and the minister was able to share as nuggets to augment what they told us. Um, but again, we want to use that and not mandate exactly what a Cayman corner needs or to look like. But as I watched 2 classrooms, I noticed just some small differences. So it made me think. I said, okay, one of the things we need to do to assist our principals and teachers is at least come up with some of the mandatory minimum things that should be in every Caymanian corner in a classroom. And then students and classroom teachers can be creative about what else they add to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be some mandatory elements so that we are really infusing the culture and our
Mm-hmm.
heritage into our classroom, so it's ever present. And then the other thing we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
rolling out some other initiatives, but I'm going to leave some of them for the
Yes,
question.
let's do some questions. We got 10 more minutes, but I almost forgot until a good student reminded me. Good morning, Auntie. Get the minister to do the squat challenge. challenge. So, we've been squatting now
Well,
for over a week.
last week me and the premier we kind of chickened out. So I am going to let me see if I can move my camera now, so I can.
I must say, I need to get a secondary camera that I can actually adjust. But
so how many do we need to do, Sandra? So I'm
I
down
need to.
1.
Oh my gosh, you were ready for me. Somebody told you I was coming.
3.
My goodness, hold on, I haven't even started yet.
Sandra, come on now, come on.
Yes, where's Kevin? Kevin, are you counting for me?
How many of these am I supposed to do?
So we'll try to get to 50.
50?
And then and if you want to not do the regular squat, what we do is we go down and we just hold it for the rest of the count. So I've been doing 10 regular and then a hold of like 40, but holding it is really hard.
What, I mean, that's just holding in place like this?
Yes.
Yeah, that burns.
Yeah, you can feel it. That's a different level. That's taking up another notch. But thank you so much. And while we're doing that, we're going to keep talking and keep answering some questions or comments. So Ms. Darlene says that shallow-minded people that say that type of thinking will give more unwanted pregnancies. Ms. Darlene also says, and certain nationalities will marry a dog just to stay in Cayman. We know that's true. Trisha says that's a dark parent thinking that way. It's a constant conversation. No age group right now isn't before age. Aisle 2025 says, I say with confidence, our Caribbean children are being failed by parents when it comes to sexual education. Many don't get taken to gyno, which is needed. I had to take myself when I was an adult. Wow. That's kind of crazy.
Sandra, I don't know how much I went to, but
yeah,
I think I did
going. Kevin's counting in the background for me.
Oh.
Lucky Body says, will you be talking about the immigration bill today? So immigration doesn't fall under the Minister of Education or the Ministry of Education and, training, but we're hoping to have some individuals on. I think the Premier's office with Ms. Pilar was arranging to have some persons come on, and then we had, the storm hit. There's been a number of different things. So I'll chase that up. What's the government's position on giving kids access to birth control? Is that even a conversation in the schools? Well, if we can't even talk about sex yet, aisle 2025, I doubt we're there. Yeah.
It's a good point. It is certainly one I'll raise with the team and see what happens globally. And I say what happens globally because I don't just believe that whatever's happening globally you do, but it ought to inform how we think about policy. So it's certainly something that I'm more than happy to have a conversation around because we have to protect our children, right? What's the alternative? Teen pregnancy?
Yeah.
So we need to have the conversation. But Sandra, we're going to have some hugely important, and I think they're going to be from a national pride perspective and level of knowledge of the country. Some initiatives that we're going to roll out. So you got me a little out of breath now.
I know. That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah.
And national song.
And the challenge
in the class, someone just wrote that. Mr. Keith Orrit.
Yes, thank you, Keith.
Agree completely. And that is going to be a part of what is going to be when we roll out our national heritage and culture initiative.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
So another person asking the same question about so Ms. Darlene also backing up aisle 2025 and says, and birth control needs to be introduced to our matured young people in our schools, girls and boys, preventative measures against unwanted pregnancies. And we should add not just unwanted pregnancies, but STDs, which could alter and change their lives forever, right? I mean, obviously a child would as well, but and forget to introduce them to condoms also. So another call for additional education. Nathina is having a laugh at us. You better get up and do the squats, girl. Miss Dawn said you did well. You did well.
I think I got a few in. So
yes, that's good. Miss Emma was counting for you. She said you did 51. Very well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I sped up. I decided to just go faster so I could because I knew I was getting close to the end, and I didn't want to be completely out of breath. Now, Sandra, I can also tell you, because this national song brings back another memory.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the public couldn't see this.
Mm-hmm.
Same high school graduation you were talking about. You do not to know how upset I was when I look out. We're singing the national song.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly a student was singing. Well, let me say hardly. Way too many students were not singing,
Mm-hmm.
and teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, whether they want to or not in any other setting,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to insist at every school that is part of their graduation / school leaving practice that anybody that don't know the national song better learn it before the event, and that every student and teacher who's participating in the exercises be instructed that they shall sing the national song during when we open the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine me, I'm on that platform, and we are now singing our national song, and I can barely see lips moving. And in some instances, the teachers who lined up as either the tutor groups, I guess they were the tutor group leaders, accompanying their graduating students, not singing it either.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get the point of the public that
Mm-hmm.
some people initially were like, "Boy, it wasn't about me not wanting to be there at
Mm-hmm.
all." I would have. That was graduation and school leavings are some of my celebrating with young people is that's the capstone of the education journey.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see this sort of foolishness happening for people like me, who can sometimes do wear the emotions on the
You can't,
chest.
you can't, you can't hide it. That's for sure. You like me. People can tell in my face. Normally, I'm just like, to me, it puts too much. It takes too much energy to pretend to even feel a particular way.
Right.
And then once you're used to not forcing it, not doing it, it's just obvious all over the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
What you're thinking, really. Which that's just about being genuine and honest, as far as I'm concerned. Minister, I know we got through quite a bit this morning. You've really hit the ground running within your ministry. We're going to be sharing some of these highlights on our social media pages just to make sure that the Ministry of Education Training is receiving adequate coverage on all of the things that they have going on, because it is a lot. There's lots of moving parts
Yes.
to this. I even saw just now as you were talking that you'd actually issued a message about Hurricane Melissa. So I'm going to share that on our social channels as well. But we did get a question from one of our listeners, and this is just about following up and sort of continuity. And they were saying that one of the teachers in the BRAC who had been put on leave while an investigation was ongoing regarding some allegations is now back in the classroom. Does that mean that investigation has concluded? This is Miss
Sorry.
Jinky. I can't remember her last name. So there was some questions about some adult photos of her and her having adult sites. I cannot say that
Um,
set up. So this person said
Sandra,
she's back in the classroom.
news to me. So I will check as I have my next meetings, or I'll get someone on the team to check, and we can certainly send you a quick WhatsApp so you can say on air what the current status is. I certainly hope not. I'll tell you that. That is for sure. If you think my face at Clifton Hunter kind of looked a little bit befuddled, let's say. But the last thing, Sandra, that I wanted to just mention, and as I come down to the last couple of minutes, was how wonderful an evening we had when we had our celebration of long service awards for educators and persons in the ministry. We hadn't done that in the ministry for, as I understand it, for a long, long, long time. And so we had 283 persons were celebrated for having more than 10 years service to either the ministry, schools, Sunrise Adult Training Center, or our library system. And so, and Department, of course, Department of Education Services. So that was a wonderful, wonderful night to see so many people get all dressed up to come and be recognized,
Mhm.
for their long service across our system. And we included everyone. So we had groundsmen. We had a groundsman that has been out at John Gray. I think he got in the 35 plus year category.
Mhm.
Again,
Wow.
not someone that you could think of when you think of our quote unquote education
Mhm.
system, but all of those elements come together to make our school community work,
Mhm.
thrive. And I know how students react because I've seen it
Mhm.
at school leavings and graduation. So students react to those staff who are not in not teachers, those ancillary staff, and the impact that they can have. I can remember my canteen operators, from high school, and I know a lot of people out there will fondly remember theirs as well. So we truly made sure that we celebrated all persons that
Mhm.
that that gave great service to the country. And again, all of that is up
Mhm.
on our Facebook page as
Mhm.
well. I pushed it out on mine. I, as far as I'm aware, the team would have sent it out to you as well. So we just want to ensure, Sandra, that we're actually really celebrating
Mhm.
as well. Because look,
Mhm.
there's work to be done. There's work to be done, no doubt, for us to improve continuously all of our systems in government, including education. But we do need to also pause and ensure that we celebrate A, great achievements, and B, our people.
All right, we've got a quick call on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Minister Anglin, Honorable Anglin.
Morning.
Try and catch the amen.
Yeah.
I believe that I heard that
Yes.
it will be mandatory now for Cayman flags to be in all classrooms. And I think I heard that
Mhm.
not only government schools, but all schools on the island.
Mhm.
That's very exciting. And there was talk about our national anthem.
Mhm.
As a born and bred Caymanian that has maternal roots out of Cayman Brat,
Mhm.
I attended a private British-based prep
Mhm.
school
Mhm.
before I went to Cayman Islands Middle School. And I will tell you that every morning in assembly, we sang God Save the Queen.
Mhm.
When I started going to Cayman Islands Middle School, I did not know the Cayman Islands national song.
Mm.
It was embarrassing. It was humiliating, but it was something that I was aware of because what you don't know, right?
Right.
Now, of course, I had heard it in the home a few times. It's not like I didn't know that it didn't exist, but I did not know
Mhm.
it off
Mhm.
by heart. And when going to middle school, it was sang quite often. So I was one of those dumbfounded students that didn't know the words,
Mhm.
right? When I attended Vacation Bible School that summer, thank God, the Vacation Bible School did teach us the national anthem. So I was not ever lost again. But I will say this, can we please, when we're doing our mandate for sexual education do's and don'ts,
Mhm.
that seems
Mhm.
to be the agenda for Minister Anglin going
Mhm.
forward because they getting our money, so they got to do what we say. Can we please
Mhm.
also make sure, and they may be doing it now. This was back in the 80s, right? So they may be doing it now, but can we please also mandate that our schools are teaching our youth and children the Cayman Islands national song? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you so much. And you know what? I was thinking even at that event the other day, just having the words up on the screen, because there are people who don't know even Caymanians, they don't know the words. So just having it up there as a little reminder of what they are probably would not have been a bad idea. So thank you so much, caller, for
Yes.
that bit of advice.
So
We do have,
I've taken a
um,
note, Sandra. Taken a note.
yes.
It's many minds is what makes the best policy. There's also a poster that's available
Mhm.
that has the words to our national song, and I want to make sure I clarify to the caller what I
Mhm.
was talking about is making mandatory our national song. And so I am along with the flags. I think we should be putting that little
Mhm.
it's small. It's not very big. That small poster of the national song in all
Mhm.
classrooms. And yes, I am going to be speaking to the school leadership of all the private schools to ensure that they are rolling out something the same, because
Mhm.
this is these are our Cayman Islands, and if the children that are going through our system, more than likely, all of them are going to wind up being permanent members of our community anyway.
Mhm.
This is a minimum. I mean, I don't see where ensuring that everybody knows the elements of your flag and knows the national song is some great crime. And it's something that I think the public have been crying for a long time.
Mhm.
But
All
Sandra,
right.
it's
Yes, thank you.
9:04, so I have a
Yes,
room full of people who are waiting for me
absolutely.
to go
Thank
and
you.
join them for our young. What is it again? It's our young drivers, young drivers education program. So
Mhm.
first meeting to kick that off, and so hopefully that'll be not only hugely important, but a very exciting initiative that we can roll out, God's
Mhm.
willing, next year across all of our schools. Sandra, so much
I
to talk
appreciate
about,
it. Thank you.
so much to cover. Let us continue to pray for our neighbors in Jamaica, those who have been negatively affected by Hurricane
Mhm.
Melissa. Let us continue to pray for each other as Caymanians and people who move and have our being in our Cayman Islands. Let's pray. There's a lot of funerals on this weekend. So let's pray for the families who are grieving. And tomorrow morning, I'm speaking at the Life conference. And Life has done a lot of great work around literacy. And they've broadened their approach. And so one of the things that they're really pushing is early childhood care and education. So, of course, when I first met them I guess about 2 weeks ago, they came in and made a courtesy call, and they had already invited me to speak at the conference because they know that this is an area that I believe in and want to invest further in. And so I'm speaking there tomorrow, and I just want to thank Woodrow Foster and that team for all of the hard work they put in to our children and trying to improve the life chances of our children, Sandra. So
Mhm.
have a wonderful rest of the weekend, Sandra, to you and your listening audience. And God's willing, next Friday, we will be back because I will have presented the budget. And so I want to come on and do a budget highlights program next
Mhm.
Friday.
One quick thing before you leave, you might want to know this. One of our listeners said, FYI, Prep Elementary Year 2 has now changed the Cayman curriculum lesson to 1 week instead of one term. Wow. Talk about regressing. They have been teaching British geography in lessons rather than spending time on Cayman. This is disappointing.
Mm. If true.
Seems like we have to mandate. Yes, I mean, seems like we have to mandate all of these things to happen. Yes. Okay. Well, I'll get some proof for you, Minister, because I know you like proof, like me.
Well, no, I'm looking down because I'm making a note and I'm going to ask a member of the team to call.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
if that's the case, the school needs to explain why, and maybe again,
Yeah.
they may
Like
be another school that don't need taxpayer
as
money
though
either.
we don't have sufficient history and culture. Anyway, Minister, thank you so much. We appreciate you as always. We will see you, God's willing, next week, Friday. Continue to do your squats. You did really well today. Miss Alice said, Mr. Ralston, England, I did 45. So we're motivating a lot of people to
Excellent.
get to squatting. Somebody else even said to me, Sandy, your chin looking a little bit more chiseled. Now, I'm going to keep it up. We're going to add to it. So I'm going to start my little walking routine. The knees starting to feel a bit better. So we will get there one step at a time and one squat at a time.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister. Appreciate you.
Okay. Have a wonderful weekend.
All righty. So this is very disappointing. Of course, if true, and I have no reasons to believe that it's not true. In fact, this wouldn't surprise me. Cayman Prep. Oh my God. You guys are beginning to be a little bit of a joke, about your desire to uncaymanize yourself. I don't know what it is about Cayman Prep, but Lord Jesus, please take the wheel. So they have went from curriculum, the Cayman curriculum, from one term to 1 week, and now we get to learn about British geography and lessons rather than spending time in Cayman. Why do we need to know about British geography in elementary school? Huh? That's just so weird to me. I don't know. Are they testing them on that in elementary school? I mean, listen, you hand the kid the book and said, read up on British, whatever, in the classroom. Let's take some national pride here and talk about our country. And Athena says they've always been like that. Girl, them people not easy. Yeah. No, sir. What a hot mess. I don't know what to say. There are days that these people really do shock me. So I'm going to get the necessary evidence now being sent to me as we speak. Somebody can send me the curriculum, honey Jill. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. I just got on to your program today. I noticed that nobody mentioned anything about the coat of arms.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's significant. Everything in that means something to this country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is there 3 stars? The 3 Cayman Islands. The lion means Britain is the head of the state, and the list goes on. And the wavy parts of the coat of arms is a Caribbean Sea.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that we need to learn about in school.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Someone went on to say that yes, the coat of arms is part of the teaching. Wow.
But everything in that coat of arms is important.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a picture of the coat of arms, bring it up and you'll see.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I guess we need to have, maybe I'll speak to someone at the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage to come onto the program and have a little Keyman lesson here on the show, because I think there are people who've asked me even about the pineapple. Why did we have the pineapple on there? Because they thought that was more representative of Jamaican history. And so, we can have a breakdown of it to make sure that we all know and we all understand these different elements of our flag, of the coat of arms, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, I will do my best to reach out and get some more details on that for sure. But it's important that the children are learning this information, and the best place for them to learn it accurately is in a school setting. Athena says they just bare face now. Getting bolder by the minute. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning, dear. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
The little history I know about Cayman is mainly when I used to, Steve McField used to be on radio programs a lot. I am going to ask, can someone compile the history of Cayman in a book so that it can go into the school curriculum? And I don't mean a watered down history. I mean the exact history. There are going to be things in that history book that a lot of Caymanians may not like to know about, but it is history. And I know it's not being taught in the school a lot. My daughter went to the school here. The national anthem. I don't think that if you put a 9th grade class together, if you get 10 out of that class reciting the national anthem completely, you get a lot. There is not a lot of national pride in this country. And we are small enough where small enough where we should be displaying our national pride.
Absolutely. At every opportunity.
So, and it all has to do with the history. Whether we want to like something in our history, it's history, and we have to know it.
Yep. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that comment, for sure.
You're welcome.
936-2626. The phone lines are open. Let's touch on a few more things. Yesterday during the show, if you missed yesterday's program, we were so pleased to see that the Cayman Islands government represented us extremely well. The very first flight out of Cayman, our people, our government officials, the premier, and ministers, quite a number of his ministers, were on that flight to Jamaica, along with the leader of the opposition, Mr. Joey Hugh. And they were on that flight showing solidarity with the people of Jamaica, with the Jamaican government. And I handed them an envelope to say that, essentially we're going to be offering in excess of $1.2 million monetarily, as well as other supplies. We took supplies, the government took supplies with them at the time as well. And so I know that a lot of us, it brought some people to literal tears to see that our government really stepped up to the plate in order to, share that we are here. We're supporting Jamaica and the Jamaican people in their recovery post Hurricane Melissa, which is a devastating hurricane. And this is indicative of who we are as a people. It's just who we are. So essential supplies and goods will be shipped directly to Jamaica. And they took, like I said, the first bit of that yesterday. So there was a number of people. There was a picture. Let me just show you guys this picture in case you missed it. There was a picture circulating, and I know that they were up from early hours, probably 2:00 in the morning, some sources revealed, trying to get all the logistics of this sorted out with Cayman Airways, so that the very first flight that went out, they could be on that flight with much needed supplies. Again, having been in contact with the government of Jamaica, they know where the need lies. They know where the assistance is most needed. And so this is a photo that government has released of individuals. We see some persons from HSA, no doubt, involved in sending medical supplies, and others, hazard management and so forth, just getting things on that plane. So big shout out to Cayman Airways, who also worked very, very closely with the government to ensure that flight out was successful. They landed with no issues. They briefly attended the press conference, and thanks to the Jamaican government for acknowledging them as well, acknowledging and thanking them for really stepping up and being there for the people of Jamaica. So we stand with you in a time like this because we can relate to some extent to the unfortunate situation that you now find yourself in, where your country is going to have to rebuild in a way that you have never had to rebuild before. And someone just confirmed that two Cayman Airways aircrafts actually went at the same time, again, to take in these much needed supplies. So it was a heartfelt moment between governments, between people. And I saw a few of you start to send me, one or two people trying to get in the mix with negativity and negative comments. I wanted to shut that down as quickly as possible. So we did post something about that, saying, some people are just ungrateful no matter what. I don't know who that individual was, if they're trying to troll or what it is that they're trying to do. Some people are just all about negativity. And that is why even months ago now, I have said that we've taken a very, very firm policy on addressing this particular issue, which is people who get in the comment section. And there's some people who didn't quite understand what we said initially, because I saw them commenting, oh, well, you're posting stuff about America. I'm like, this isn't about America. Let me be very, very specific here. This is about people who are trying to sow discord between Cayman and Jamaica, right? Two countries who have such a long and extensive history that we are like step siblings, half siblings, or cousins. That's how close we are, right? And so there are people who don't live in Cayman sometimes. They're not even that connected to the Cayman community. Sometimes they are, but they just want to like jump in the comment section. They don't add anything meaningful to a conversation. All they do is they jump up and they say, oh, well, if this was a Jamaican that did it, we would hear something different. And it is just, I think it's done to clout chase and to get a couple likes and a couple comments. But what you're actually doing is you are sowing an immense amount of discord in the community that, number one, doesn't need it, doesn't want it. And also, it simply isn't true. This is the part that is shocking to me, right? We report, for example, on Caymanians, Americans, anybody who breaks the law, we report on them equally as we would if the person was a Jamaican. There is no additional highlighting if the person is Jamaican. We report on all of it, and it is really quite as simple as that. Okay. Now, here's the crazy part that really makes me shake my head, because people are like, oh yeah, that's true. No, it's not. It's not true. I said to someone this week, I said, people see what they see. And in the context of CMR, for example, you might know what we post, but what you don't know is what we don't post, right? And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of things that happen in this country, in the area of news and media, that sometimes we just give people an opportunity to fix their situations, right? So people come to us with complaints all the time, and we say, all right, here, we've gotten this complaint, we've got this situation. Are you in a position to fix it? It's when they're not in a position to fix it, or they don't fix it, or they do nothing about it, that all of a sudden, yes, they become highlighted and it becomes a really big situation. But you guys don't know. You don't know the amount of times that I would have given somebody a belie and allow them, just like HSA, it gives me no pleasure to have had to highlight the inefficiencies and all of the issues at HSA. But you see, you guys don't know for years how I have attempted, let me fix it so y'all can see my flag fully. Chair. There we go. How many years I've been working with HSA, sending them tips. I'm getting this complaint. I'm getting this. You guys don't know that. You don't know it. Okay. You don't know. Right? Let me be very, very clear. Even when this guy, their former deputy CEO, Mr. Ronnie Dunn, you guys don't know that when he left a scathing message on operations and all these complaints and whatever. Somebody gave me a copy of it, and I think I still have it in my file folder. I should go and dig it out, because it was very, very interesting what he had to say about the HSA and his criticisms as someone who was part of the leadership team. You know why you guys don't know anything about it? It's because at the time that it went down, I got a courtesy call from the board director and the CEO. You see, I don't really like to talk about these things, but sometimes y'all put me in a position where I have to educate you about what you don't know. I got a courtesy call that said, Sandy, we are aware that you've gotten this letter, because I did tell them I have this letter. And they said, we would really appreciate this not being highlighted at this time. We're in the cusp of getting our JC, what's it called? JC whatever accreditation, JCI accreditation. Can you kind of do us a solid on this? We can tell you that a lot of these allegations are not true, but despite that, an internal investigation into his complaints have been launched, et cetera, et cetera. I said, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Yes. And let you guys handle your business. And here we are years later, because that was years ago. And I'm still getting complaints about HSA, and they have not handled their business satisfactorily, none at all. But y'all don't know. Okay. So I've taken a very firm position on this particular thing. Anyone, and I don't care who you are, I don't care who your mama is, your grandma is, I don't care. You get in the comment section. A lot of times I'm not reading the comments, so other people who know the policy message me, here you go, Miss Sandy, here's another one that you need to block. If any of you get in the comment section and you post on any article, but if this was Jamaica, if this was whatever, you are going to get blocked from the platform. And I don't want to hear no excuse. I don't want to hear no cockamamie story. I don't want to hear no mia, mia, mia. The position is very clear. Stop doing it, because the reasons that you do it is for no good reason whatsoever. We don't need you trying to sow discord between communities. We got enough of that on its own. Okay? Caller. Good morning, honey chair.
Morning from the block, Sandra. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Carrie? I wanted to get to another letter that I have here, so make it a quick comment.
I'm going to make it quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just concerned about what we're hearing up here about some clean crash and why is the dock closed. And I called the police station, the main line this morning in State Bay, and that police officer woman answered, the one that nobody after likes that killed, what do you mean, Thomas? Anyway, she was very rude and kind of foolishness.
You know you can't.
What happened? We need to know. Nobody's telling us, and I'm sick of this nonsense.
All right. I'm gonna make an announcement now on it. But Carrie, you got to stop making these comments that are going to get you sued. I don't even know what woman you're talking about, but I'm sure you said she killed somebody. What
Carrie. Her car hit him, and he died.
Lord have mercy.
So what part of that? It's not right.
That doesn't mean that she killed him, because I'm pretty sure she's not been charged with that. But anyway, all right. The vehicular accident.
Regardless, the community feels that his entire death was wrong.
All right.
Anyway, my point is, she's there on the phone, and I'm saying to her, the Black people need to know what is going on.
We have something. She's not in a position to tell you, that's why. But we have something from the RCIPS, so I'll update the people now.
She's RCIPS.
No, I'm gonna.
She can't tell.
Nope. She gonna tell you go to the website and read the press statement. Let me read it for you.
No,
all right.
Let's hear what this crap is.
Before we get to that, let me just say this quickly. Here's another example of what you don't know, right? So this is a perfect example of what you don't know. Put a letter up here on the screen that I do want to share with you guys. And this is, we get these types of things all the time, but I want you guys to be aware of it, because again, what you don't know, you don't know. And what you don't know sometimes can be very detrimental to you. Now, we handle our business here in CMR. We don't need y'all to hold our hands. We're big people. We pull up our big girl panties and we're fine. Let me give an example of what people do, especially Americans and Canadians. I've never had a British person do this, but we had the Australian guy who tried to add us to litigation, the lawyer who would hit those poor people. So a lot of times when we report on stuff, there are people who don't like it. That's hardly my problem. Well, what we would say, just lump it. They'll be fine. The Let Them series, they'll be fine. Okay, they'll be just fine. That's why I'll be telling them these days. I'm like, okay, you'll be fine. You'll survive. You'll be okay. So this guy is a lawyer now, and he came here crashes while driving under the influence. You guys remember this from September the 30th. So what they do is they hire these companies, and this company has reached out to us before, Lambert Worldwide. They have reached out before. Their expertise is trying to clean up people's reputations after they go out there drinking and driving and crashing their vehicles, and that sort of thing, right? Obviously, now when you Google his name, Terry Cushing, it's going to come out on the website that he's a friggin' alcoholic who likes to drink and drive and crash into people and crash into things, okay? So as is usual, our government gives him a slap on the wrist. But of course, we report on it. The mere reporting on it is a problem. So this is a letter that they've sent. They've sent 2 correspondents now, and I just ignore them. I'm not even responding to these people anymore because they're not worth my time, energy, or anything else. But they say, we're contacting you on behalf of Terry Cushing's in connection with the following URL on your website. Okay. First, please be advised that this letter does not constitute a notice of intent to take legal action. Yeah, because you can't, but let's continue reading. Though the undersigned is a lawyer, we've been engaged as negotiators and facilitators. While we support the media and free speech rights, let me stop you there. When somebody says that to you, and then they're going to go on with a but or something else, This is like Trump. Oh, I support free speech, but I'm going to throw you in jail if you exercise it. Shut up. Is it 9:30 yet? 2 more minutes. While we support the media and free speech rights, we believe there are additional facts and or contexts of which you may be unaware that would change the nature of the story, result in potential inaccuracies, or inadvertently lead readers, to an inaccurate conclusion. Therefore, Terry is suffering ongoing negative impacts on his personal and professional lives. Terry is suffering ongoing negative impacts on their personal and professional lives. I think they forgot to fix that sentence. It should be on his personal and professional life, not lives. As far as I know, he only gets one. As a result of the media on this topic and the ease with which it is discoverable via internet searches. We are happy to provide further details. However, due to the sensitive nature of some information, bullshit, off radio, we only agree to do so if you agree to keep any information disclosed strictly off the record. Say what, honey child? Let me keep reading it because it gets better. Okay. Terry wishes to move beyond all the negative online media. Good for him. While certain information should be archived, it is no secret that the internet and technology have made this increasingly difficult to move beyond any type of negative associations, regardless of accuracy and veracity, no matter how small. Therefore, we request that the URL in question be removed from your website. Alternatively, we're open to compromise arrangements such as de-indexing, editing, or name removal. Thank you for your time and consideration of this request. Please feel free to contact us at any time regarding this matter. Email is our preferred method of communication. The undersigned may be reached at blah, blah, blah. When sending an email, please reference our client's name and organization as above. So this company, like I said, they've reached out to us from time to time. They're called Lambert Worldwide, and they're in New York, Florida, and the United Kingdom. Licensed in New York. And this is what they do. They provide, their title is business attorneys and international advisors. They try to clean up people like this guy, Mr. Cushings, who has had a shit show of a life when he comes to another country on vacation and holiday and decides to drink and drive. I share this as an example for all of you to understand me, and I'm going to make this very, very painfully clear on how we report on these things and how I handle news, generally speaking, right? I don't give a shit. Let me try to make it as crystal clear as possible. I do not care. I don't care about Mr. Lambert and whatever cockamamie story he has for why he would have been drinking and driving, what excuse they could possibly come up with. The fact that you want to provide me with an excuse and then turn around and request for it to be off record says all I need to know about you and Mr. Cushing and everything else. No. I don't care what excuse he has. I don't care if he was having a bad day, if he just lost the most important client of the year. None of that matters to me. We are in the news business. So just like anybody else who is in the news business, when we obtain information, comes from court reporting, news, et cetera, we will report it just like we do any other news story, factually and accurately. You claim there might be some inaccuracies. Tell us what the inaccuracies are, because the story was based on court proceedings. So it was very, what his name is, Terry Cushings. So it was very, very straightforward. They're only upset because now when you Google his name, what is going to come up under his name is the fact that he was involved in this incident in Cayman. Too bad, too sad. I don't care. Okay? Let me just see here now. In fact, I hope that it gets listed even more. Talking about delisting. You can imagine for a hot minute now, honey chill, that this is what happens, right? This guy does this September 30th. Here we are, October, mid-October, and these people are already messaging me about him, talking about reputational damage. Oh, here's what's going on right now. You see this? Do you know what do you all know what this is? This is the smallest violin in the world playing right now. That says, I don't give a, you know what, MF, about what you think about your reputation, because you should have thought about that before you came to the Cayman Islands and before you decided to drink and drive. That's what you should have done. You should have thought about it then. Because had you thought about it then, I'm just saying, you wouldn't be messaging me now. You could have killed someone in this country with your DUI. And you see, our court system, they only find you $1,300, which is no money for a lawyer, banned from driving while pleading guilty to careless driving and driving under the influence in summary court. The dude already gone back to Texas, so he's not worried about a driving ban. That's not going to impact him in any way, shape, or form. Give him a little fines of $600 and $700. Nothing. Okay. When Caymanians and Jamaicans and Hondurans message me about, can you take down a story? The answer is no. And it's going to be the same for Americans. It's going to be the same for Canadians. And it's going to be the same if you're British. I don't care where you're from. The rules apply to everyone. So please refrain from sending me these stupid correspondence. I don't give a shit. I don't care about him and his reputational damage. That would have been a matter for him to be concerned about, not for me. You break the law, we report on it. So it's so convenient for them because this is like a standard letter. They say this bullshit in all the letters, right? And there's nothing that they can come back with and ever say, well, what are the inaccuracies? But most importantly, why would you want it off the record? Because if it's off the record, that means that we can't even publish. Like, let's say there was some legitimate, like, okay, he takes medication. Mm-hmm. And it was the medication that made him drunk and crash. Wouldn't you want the public to know that, especially if you say, well, this is causing, inaccuracies? Like, seriously? But no, they want it off record because they think I was born this size and I look like a proper donkey and a proper fool. Not today, Bobo. And, it takes energy to even respond to these people because they don't give up. They just keep messaging you and messaging you. I don't have business with them. What I'm going to tell them to do is going forward, because they only work with, Americans tend to engage them with Canadian stuff like that. Our policy is we write a story accurately. If there's any inaccuracies in the story, then you can feel free to let us know. Until then, don't call me. Don't email me. Don't WhatsApp me. Don't message me. Don't bother me. None at all. Capiche? All right. So, Mr. Cushion, stop wasting your money. You are wasting your money. I'm always curious about how much they pay these people to even engage their services. Did you message the Compass? I don't know if the Compass carried this story, but did you message them as well? Maybe they didn't carry it. I don't know. But yeah, it's not coming down. I've even had some of these people try to bribe me financially. Oh, I'll pay you this. If you, I'll pay you if you take it down. I was like, no. One time, just out of curiosity, I want to know how much their reputation really means to them. So the Canadian dentist and the wife who were involved in breaching the COVID thing. Remember them? They were sneaking all over the place and doing the most. So when she wanted the article taken down, she messaged me, I'll give a donation to the charity of your choice. So I was like, let me see how much her reputation means to her. Because the bitches be cheap, right? So I said, really? And I said, and how much would that donation be? $1,000 US. I laughed. I think she was messaging me on WhatsApp. I said, ma'am, $1,000 not no money to nobody in Cayman, especially not at NPO. I said, keep your $1,000 and go sit in the naughty corner with everybody else. Like, seriously, I'm supposed to be impressed with $1,000 US at that? I was like, please. That'll pay the CUC bill. That's about it. No NPO don't need that from you, bitch. Go sit down and take your licks. But, this is what they do. When they got money, they think they can control the narrative. They can change the stories that are written about them. And, but I know business. So, my Jamaican brothers and sisters, listen, times ahead are undoubtedly going to be tough. This is a very, very tough time. We will help you as much as you can, but there is something to be said, because the comment that really got people is like, oh, Cayman is such a rich country. Well, that's all relative, but we certainly didn't get rich by giving away money all the time and not being fiscally responsible and prudent. And we might be rich compared to a third world country, but the truth of the matter is, we are in a deficit. We're hemorrhaging money as a country as well. So we have to be fiscally responsible to our own people first and foremost. Yes, we are very, very given people, and we will help where we can without a doubt, but we cannot help to our own detriment. So for those of you who think our financial position, we're going to get the budget here this upcoming week in Parliament. What I would suggest to you is go and read up on Cayman's financial position a little bit, and then come and talk to us about how rich you think we are. We got problems just like everybody else, honey child. And quite frankly, you have got to be willing to pay your own bills before you can go and bail anybody out. So I thought in excess of $1 million was a generous amount, knowing that, we're still in hurricane season. We don't know what might happen for the rest of the season. We ourselves might find that, a week or two, we get hit by a frigging Category 5 storm, and then we need help. Who you think will be helping us? We don't have any catastrophe bond that we have bought into. We don't have a lot of countries that are going to come and help us, because once again, they're going to be like, oh, well, y'all got money. Y'all rich. Y'all don't need us. And so we have to be responsible. We have to be fiscally prudent and responsible. That's what it's all about. It's really not about, we don't want to help. I'm sure our heart and the heart of the government, if we could give $50 million, we would have. But we're just not in a position to do that. We have a lot of things here in this country that are costing us, unbelievable amounts of money. Education, healthcare is in a deficit. Cayman Airways is in a deficit. Turtle Farm is in a deficit. We got a lot of issues. So that being said, we have to make sure that we are taking care of our country, our bills, our people first, and then we can try to help other people. So I want to thank the government in any event for stepping up to the plate and for assisting. Those of you who are not happy with that, then you must have more than $1 million in your bank account that you can donate to the people of Jamaica. And I'm sure that they would appreciate it. So please step up and do so. The negativity really does not get you anywhere at all. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I was so very touched to see our government represent us yesterday in Jamaica. And I also want to say to that I have been getting numerous messages from all over the world congratulating us, the little Cayman Islands,
that's right,
on making such a great step. And to those who do not really understand, Sandra, we are not a sovereign state. So we cannot just give what we would like to give, we have to get approval if it's beyond a certain amount. And maybe if people understood how the government is run, how the country is run, the status of the country, then they wouldn't make some of the comments that they make. So I'm not bothered by the negativity, which I only saw one negative comment. And but he seems to be upset with everyone because he's also bashing Belize about not helping Cuba. Yeah, that's what I saw anyway. Because his thing says he's Jamaican living in Belize. So what I would like to know though is why isn't he like the other Jamaicans living abroad? Why isn't he on a plane to Jamaica offering his assistance? Instead of sitting up in Belize or wherever he is, complaining about how much we gave and shame on us basically. You know what? We are Caymanians. We are Cayman. This is who we are. And this is one of the strongest tenets of our culture. We are a giving people.
Yes.
Even
to our own detriment, to be honest, because many times we're getting taken advantage of because of it.
And that's what I was about to say, but you took it out of my mouth. And also, you know, many people, well, I don't have to call his name, that's okay. But he was a great lawyer. He's passed on. And we were having a conversation one day. And, you know, he said something to me that I have never forgotten. In fact, I even repeated. And he said, you know, ungratefulness is not one of the 10 commandments, but if I consider it one of the biggest sins. And I have to agree with him.
Yes, absolutely.
I have to agree with him. I'm forgiving of, I would say, just about everything.
Yeah.
There are two things that I find it very difficult, but not difficult. It takes longer for me to forgive it.
Yeah.
And that is if you lie on me.
Yes.
Or if you're
ungrateful. I agree.
And before you cut me off now, a word for you, Sandra. If you don't stop cussing like a man of war sailor, I am going to ban you from this platform. How about that?
Oh my goodness!
And the next
that's a good one. That's a good one.
And
Miss Brenda be full of jokes, you know. You gotta watch her. She could be a stand-up comedian. Don't let her fool. Don't let her quietness fool you sometimes.
I'm a sit down. Comedian.
You're a sit-down comedian.
The next time that they call you, bribing you with money.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine?
Listen to me. Say yes, absolutely. Hold on. Who does it sell these Range Rovers?
Oh Lord, I don't even know. Do we have a local distributor for them, or do people have to bring those in?
Yeah.
There's somebody locally who sells them. Okay.
Yeah. I think. Oh gosh, what's that place there? Oh gracious.
Is it the one on Walker's Road?
No, I think it's Car City.
Really?
And if it's not Car City, then it is.
Maybe the BMW people.
Right.
What are they called again? Lord, I can't remember.
The one there close to the gas station. You know the gas station on the corner of Eastern Avenue?
Yes, that's
yes.
Oh, I can't remember their name now, but they're the BMW people. Yeah.
Right. But I think I was confusing the BMW just with the Mercedes.
Yes.
Anyway. And I should know better because I deal with cars. But anyway, so the next time they offering you money, say to them, could you hold, please? You get onto those people and you say, could you please send me the invoice for your most customized Range Rover?
Yes, sir.
Invite. And then when they send it to you, say, okay, this is where I will start. The Range Rover is $75,000 and I need my commission.
Yep.
So you can buy a Range Rover and you have to spend your money, okay? And we'll call it, what do you call it? Hush money. So
yeah, these people are ridiculous. I mean, they're absolutely ridiculous.
And quite frankly,
you know,
Sandra,
like I said, just don't do it. Don't get involved in a DUI in somebody else's country. You don't have to worry about, you know.
And the other thing I'm going to say to that, to offer a person $1,000.
Oh, what an insult! Like that's some money.
That is compounding the insult.
I
know.
know.
In other words, that's how much your reputation.
Exactly. Well, it wasn't even my reputation, because the way I saw it, she was putting a value on her own reputation.
I meant their business reputation.
Yeah. Well, yes. Oh, yes. But you know, I said to myself, when she offered it, that's why I wanted to know, because to me, I was saying she's gonna let me know how much she values her own reputation, and apparently her reputation wasn't valued very much at only $1,000 US. I told her, "Good luck, honey, chair."
Okay, Sandra. I just see in your comment, someone says it's GT Autos, but
GT Automotive says, or something, I think they're called.
Someone else has said it's Auto House. Auto House.
I know, but Auto House used to be they used to be the Mercedes dealership way back in the day before that was taken from them, but I don't recall.
And then I thought they were the ones who brought in the Volvos, you know.
No. But I think that's Automotive Art. I think Automotive Art brings in the Volvos, I believe.
No.
No?
No.
Child, I can't keep up.
Unless they're doing it now. But it was a business right there on Crew Road, close to, oh my goodness, the eucalyptus building there. At least when I went to look at the Volvo, that's where they were. And it was Renee and Alan Bernardo that had the franchise for the Volvo.
Yeah, I think they do like the Chinese, the Shangyang, whatever that one's called now. I can't keep up though, child. There's so many.
Are they Chinese or Korean vehicles?
I thought they were Chinese, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Don't hold me to it.
No, me either. But I want to end by saying to you, the next time these people write to you, asking you to take stuff down, because they want to clean up somebody's resume, respond to them and say, "Oh, here, I can offer you some more clients." And then you send them the names of every Caymanian that has a criminal record and say, "Clean this one up for me. Thank you. Goodbye." Okay?
Yeah, good point. That's for sure. Thank you, Miss Brenda. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too. Be safe.
All righty. Bye-bye. So, yes, I mean, these people are, I guess that's what they get paid to do, but they're being a bit ridiculous about it, if you ask me. But anyway, they'll be fine. Like I said, they'll be just fine. You know, it's so funny because these people who have this sort of resource, that's how they make things disappear. That's how they've gotten through life, right? They've just skirted through life, having it so easy because somebody was always there, mommy and daddy and trust funds and whatever, was always there cleaning up their messes for them. And so they think that that's going to continue to happen. The one truthful thing he says in there, which is the God's honest truth, is that, you know, quite ironically enough, in this day and age, I can tell you that times have changed. Yes, there are newspapers and publications that you can no longer pay off and buy off and all this kind of stuff. And those things now go up on the internet. And as long as that website is up, honey child, yes, your business is going to be out there. So that's why y'all need to just behave yourselves. It seems pretty straightforward and simple to me. Good morning, caller.
Hi, morning, Sandra. How are you doing?
Morning, not bad. How are you?
I'm okay. I just want to say, first off, I'm very proud of our government, proud of the Cayman Islands, proud to be a Caymanian. And like you said, you know, if they could do more, they would do more.
Yeah.
But we're just a little dot on the map. You have other countries that are going in there now, and so on. And I wish them all the best and everything. And saying all that, to say to going to Cayman Airways, I could always rep my airline. It's nothing negative, but I keep seeing on there, now I'm representing my airline because I work there, so I have to try to clear it up. I keep seeing where people are saying too that they wish Cayman Airways could offer lower, cheaper flights and stuff like that, the fares and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So just to make it clear, the tickets to Cayman Airways, the tickets to Jamaica is not expensive tickets.
No, it's all the other fees.
What makes the ticket expensive?
Yeah.
And it's very high. What makes it very expensive to go to Jamaica is the taxes. The taxes alone is $243 US. Even if someone gets a frequent flyer ticket, a free ticket, they get enough miles to get a free ticket. The ticket is free, but you have to pay the country taxes. It comes up to $243 US. Convert that at 0.84. That's still over $200. So when people are saying that, and sometimes I try my best when I have customers to explain that to them. And I show them, I said, look, your ticket is only $160 US. Just saying. That's, you will get something, you will get it really cheap. The ticket, but then put on a 243 onto that 160 or that 180 or that 220. This is all US. When you add on a 243, it goes sky high. So, and then they turn on and they'll say, oh, Jesus, I never know this. And you understand? And that's fine. I try my best. We try to let people know that. And I'm saying it publicly. That is the reason. We offer good fares even when we have sales. Our sales fares could be as low as $99. Could be $110. I just say it's very low. But then add on that 243, it looks like you don't have a sale on the Jamaica tickets because of taxes. So I just wanted to get that clear out because I can't answer to everybody. And it just kind of nips at me when I see it or people say it. It's not Cayman Airways. We try our best. Our fares we have awesome fares, but each country has their own taxes. And unfortunately, Jamaica taxes is the highest. Yeah. And it's not going down. It keeps going up. It's not going to go down. You understand? So
it's probably going to go up even more now.
Exactly.
A recovery thing going on that, my dear.
Yep. But most of the taxes be in reference to the airport, etc. So imagine now, Mobile Airport is damaged. So by next year, they're going to have new taxes onto that. So it's not going to be 243 anymore. It's going to be more. So just putting that out there so the public would know. It's not Cayman Airways.
Yeah.
Our prices are good, but each country has to get the taxes. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
And you have a great day.
Thank you, darling.
I'm ready to go now to my work. So
yes,
you guys have a good day.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Love you too. So I mean, there's so much about the airline business. I feel like Cayman Airways needs to come on and talk to y'all about this because there really is so much about the airline business that people do not understand. And Lavana's absolutely right. A large part of what is, what you pay, what you see is included is their airport fees. And there's nothing that an airline can do about that. They have to absorb that fee into what they then pass on to the customer. And so that's a pass-through expense. Just like CUC with the fuel charge, it's a pass-through expense. They don't mark it up. Whatever they get charged by different airports, that's what they charge you, and they pass that along. And what you find happening is, in a lot of instances, the smaller airports are charging a higher fee because they don't have the cushioning of having all these multi-level airlines coming in and so forth. So their fee structure tends to be a little bit higher. And, all I can tell you is, honey child, it is what it is. So thank you so much. Keith, I see your comment that the UK has given $25 million to Jamaica. I'm not sure where you got that from, but according to the Independent News, they have said that the UK will provide an additional $5 million in emergency humanitarian funding to support the Caribbean region's recovery. So that's a region from Hurricane Melissa, the government has announced. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office, Development Office, said the funding follows the £2.5 million support package announced earlier this week. The money will be put towards humanitarian supplies to help those whose homes have been damaged and those without power, including more than 3,000 shelter kits and 1,500 solar paneled lanterns. So nobody's going to just hand you cash. What you find is a lot of this is in humanitarian supplies. So the UK government, I don't see nothing online about no $25 million, honey child. So you let me know, but I don't see that. So, you know, this is what is being reported by their media there in the United Kingdom. That is what the Foreign and Commonwealth Office has essentially said that it would be supplying. Okay. So they're going to provide an extra £5 million to aid recovery from Hurricane Melissa. And they were doing an initial 2.5 million. So by my math, that adds up to 7.5. And that's in pounds. So that's why they were increasing the funding. So initially it was 2.5, but they announced yesterday that because they are getting, actually just today they announced this, because they're getting additional information about the level of devastation after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, they have now increased it by another 5 million because, you know, yeah, this is a hit. This is, oh gosh, it's horrible. Poor Black River. Lord God. I don't think I've ever been there, but the before and after pictures, I don't know if you guys even saw the before and after aerial views. Wow. The place mashed up bad. Lord God. So sad. And yeah, it's going to take a while to recover, but you know, you've got to just, as hard as it is, you just got to go through it and you guys will eventually get there. Trust me. So they also had a specialist rapid deployment team arrived in Jamaica to provide consular assistance to affected British nationals, while the Foreign Office teams were preparing flights to support British nationals who were unable to fly home commercially. Hear what they said about that. Seat costs for the flights will be based on standard commercial fares, the FCDO said, adding that it will prioritize the most vulnerable, such as people with medical needs and children. British nationals and their immediate family members, a partner, spouse, or children under the age of 18 are eligible. Windrush generations with indefinite leave to remain in the UK also qualify for the service. But again, you can qualify, but you're going to pay for it. They're not paying your airplane ticket. Let's be clear. The British government not doing that. So again, Jamaican officials have said that more than 13,000 people remain crowded into shelters, with 72% of the island without power and only 35% of mobile phone sites in operation. Poor Haiti, not to be left out, also was hit by Hurricane Melissa. It caused catastrophic flooding in Haiti, and the death toll has risen to at least 30, with 20 others missing and 15,000 people in shelters. We had an update from our good friend, Mr. MP Famous in Bermuda, because Bermuda also got a little bit of the storm. And someone just sent me the picture saying that the Cayman Airways flights were the first 2 flights actually to land in Jamaica yesterday at the Norman Manley International Airport. So it certainly shows their commitment to the people of Jamaica. Thank you, Honorable Premier Andre Ebanks and all of the ministers. I know not everyone would have been able to go because, of course, we can't have all our ministers in Jamaica. But nonetheless, the ones that could go were there with a contingent group, and we really, really appreciate your efforts. And I know that most of the people most of the people in Jamaica are also appreciative. Mm-hmm. But I agree, Miss Brenda. My aunt used to say that all the time, boy, nothing like an ungrateful person. Yep. Yes, honey, chill. But look at this devastation in Black River. It's like, OMG. It's going to be tough. One thing that the Jamaican government had done in advance, which is really, really good, is that, they had this catastrophe insurance in place, which quite ironically, they were not able to actually get access to during Hurricane Beryl last year. But thankfully, this year, they were. So the good news is that thankfully for them, this is going to be an injection of, I think it was $50 million that they will be able to utilize. Now, let's be very, very clear. That $50 million will be a drop in the bucket. This is going to be a long road to recovery. It's going to take a very, very long time for them to get there. And, you know, it's like a morning. You can't rush the process. You just have to go through it step by step. And so undoubtedly, there will be private assistance along the way to continue to support the people who are being affected, you know, by this hurricane. I mean, look at the standing water. Oh my gosh. The outbreak of dengue fever is going to be a really, really serious concern. So Lavana says, yep, as the airport opened yesterday, KX was there on the ground. We were ready to go. All right, folks. That's all I've got. I do have to be in court this morning. So my court case continues. I'm not able to talk about it because every time I talk about it, the DPP's office gets all upset that, oh, you know, she's talking about it in public and we need to pick a jury. All I can tell you is it is the one with John Felder where he claims that I was trying to blackmail him. El Rey says, and I'm hoping to go to trial before the end of the year so we can be done with this going into 2026, God's willing. El Rey says Jamaica is set to receive $24 billion, US $150 million payout from the catastrophe. Was it $150 million? I thought it was $50 million. Check that amount for me, because I'm pretty sure all the sources that I read, and I read a couple of insurance publications, that it was actually $50 million. But anyway, I will acquiesce to you if I'm wrong. But I did read several, in preparation for the story that we did, I did read several publications, and one was like an insurance online magazine and stuff as well. So let me know, honey chow. But still, you know, 50 million is going to go a long ways to assisting. Oh gosh, I mean, it's time for them squats again. Lord God. We've been squatting and really getting to it. Is it 150 million US? Let me see here. Oh, they got Splash the Otter. Oh, he's so cute. He is so adorable. All right. Other quick headline news trending around the globe. Unfortunately, you know, we mourn the passing of a media legend in Jamaica. I'm sure you guys would have seen this story that was posted on CMR as well. Legendary Jamaican broadcaster Barry G has passed away at the age of 70. So apparently he had been sick. Someone said that I think he had pneumonia and for some time. So he passed away. A lot of people might remember him. You know, his reach really went even beyond his radio shows, and he inspired a generation of broadcasters and will remain a beloved figure in Jamaican entertainment for a very, very long time. So he was at JBC. He became a central figure in the legendary war of the afternoon shows between JBC and rival station RJR, representing his station in what Grange described as flair in the heated competition for listeners. So again, he joined them back in the late 70s, shortly after graduating from Kingston College, and he made his mark with the Boogie Down show on Saturday nights. But it was his 4-hour 2 to 6 super mix that cemented his status as Jamaica's #1 disc jockey throughout most of the 1980s. So rest in peace, sir, and condolences to his family. Mm-hmm. All right. Remember, check our website for all of the latest news updates. Scammers are about, which I told you guys that was going to happen. That is no, I'm drinking ginger tea this morning. It's making me a little bit burpy. My apologies. I see that so far Jamaica is reporting 19 deaths from Hurricane Melissa, but it could go up because there's still some areas, as far as I know, that they are not able to get into. So, so sad. And for all those people who are out there taking this storm for a joke and partying and whatever, don't mess with Mother Nature, honey child. She's not a joke. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So I'm out. Let me go run a few errands today. I will be tomorrow at the Life Conference. If you are going, this is their inaugural literacy conference. I mean, they've had amazing numbers. So if you're going, I will see you there. If not, I will certainly give you guys an update on Monday in terms of how the event went and, you know, all that good stuff. And yeah. Okay. All right. All right, that's it. Gotta run. You guys be good. See you mañana. Have a safe weekend, please. No drinking and driving. I say it every Friday if I can. If I do, I try to remember to say it. Please, no drinking and driving. You might end up on Mall Road because some of y'all don't care about killing people. But apparently, Mr. Terry, you care about being in the news for hitting stuff. Really? Get it together. Miss Anita says, I remember the Black River area for their spicy pepper shrimp. Hot, but so yummy. Praying for the whole of St. Elizabeth. Thank you. Oh, Melody, thank you. The plane crash. Well, okay. The police have issued a statement, and they basically said that they did receive some 911 calls last night about this incident, that people saw some flare and, you know, they thought it was a plane crash. They closed off the road closest to where it was, and they've been investigating. So far, they haven't found anything to confirm a plane crash. So they've sent the helicopter up. Last night, they sent up the drone, I understand, and they haven't yet been able to confirm a plane crash, but they're continuing to do a search of the area to see if they can find anything. What I'm thinking may have happened, and I mean, hopefully if there's a plane in the area, it would have been on the, you know, satellites and stuff like that. Someone claimed that guys saw it from the tower. What I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head is maybe what this actually is or was is one of the satellites. You know how the satellites come back down to Earth and they crash into the ocean? Is it possible that we had a satellite crash into the ocean by the BRAC? The Coast Guard boat has just arrived in the BRAC. Someone had just told me a little while ago. So, yeah. So hopefully, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So, you know, I think that, I think that that's probably the likely scenario here, because I do think if it was a plane, you would have, even if it was a small plane, you would have probably heard a bit more by now. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. Someone said that there was no satellite coverage in Cayman to follow planes, and none of the towers have it. But wouldn't it have been like on flight radar or something? Doesn't that cover all planes? I don't know. All right. Well, they'll continue to search, but thus far it seems like, it was probably not that serious. Maybe some flying debris or something. As soon as we know, we will, of course, post the relevant update on our social media pages and on our website. Okay. Until next time, honey child, y'all have a good one. Be good or be good at it. That's my best advice.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.